15 years ago, game devs couldn't like get away with releasing broken games because there would be no way to fix those games, unlike today. Today, when a game is released or when you first buy a game at launch, there's a day one patch, and in many weeks or months after release, the game continuously gets patched for bugs and such. But during the Xbox and PS2 days, or should I say consoles way before the 360 and PS3, games had to be functional at launch. Game devs couldn't afford releasing a broken game, otherwise they would have to take that broken game off the market, keep it off the market until the game is fixed. That costs money. But since there's updates, game developers can slack off. Well, I wouldn't say game devs are slacking off. It's more publishers rushing games and fixing the problem later. Take Halo the Master Chief Collection, for example. This game was absolutely broken at launch. Sure, you could play the campaigns, no problem. If you just bought it for the campaigns, then you're good to go. You have about like 20 to 25 hours of content because like I believe each of those campaigns are like 6 hours long. But in terms of online play, it was shit. And this is a big deal because like while the campaigns in Halo are fine, what really makes Halo is the multiplayer. And I have a soft spot for Halo and its multiplayer because I've had a lot of good times on Halo 3 and Halo Reach back in the day. I remember playing a lot of awesome custom games and all that. So yeah, I was probably more than pissed that this game was absolutely broken at launch. But yeah, that's what happens. Like since publishers can get away with releasing broken games and just fix it later, then whatever, man. Just whatever. Like, who cares? They already got our money. They already got our money. Basically, the only reason this is even possible, or why they even do this, is because of pre-order. They know many people are going to buy at launch because they can see statistics. Like, it will pretty much say at this period of time, once our game release, we'll make this amount of money. So they know they have guaranteed income, so who cares? Why continue working on the game? We already got their money. We already got the money in the bag. We'll just fix the problem later. Like, who cares? So so if you don't want to support broken games, I suggest don't pre-order or don't pre-order often. If you have full confidence in a game developer or game that you know that's going to be functional at launch, then go right ahead. But just just be as a consumer, be careful what you are buying because what you buy is what incentivizes business practices, certain business practices. Possibly MGS5 is a paid demo and many people bought it. So many of those people who have bought it are incentivizing paid demos. That's pretty much what it is, paid demo. They pretty much took the prologue from the Phantom Pain, which should have been in the full game to begin with, and sold it as its own separate game, even though it doesn't stand on its own as its own separate game. Despite how many hours you can squeeze out of it, it's still a paid demo. Like Konami could still put that, like include that on Castlevania 2 because I had a feeling they knew that game wasn't going to turn out well. Well, this game's going to suck, so why don't we just put Ground Zeroes on there? Like, I mean, sure, like Castlevania isn't that popular, so why not just put on Castlevania? Sure, many people will just buy it for MGS5, but it's better than selling it as its own game. So yeah. And speaking of broken games and all that, and bad business practices, we've heard of beta testers testing the latest Battlefront and says it may possibly be broken at launch. And that doesn't surprise me because this is EA we're talking about here. We all remember Battlefield 4 and how much of a disaster that game was at launch. While a great game, but there's no excuse for the state it was in at launch. Sure, it's fine to play now. Like, I mean, you can you can buy Battlefield 4 for a bargain and save a lot more money by getting all the DLC and have a grand old time with that game. But at launch, that game was disastrous, even on consoles. And like during the Xbox 360 and PS3 days, or the seventh gen, games on consoles mostly were always functional at launch. The only games that were shit at launch were PC ports, because PC was always put under the rug, always forgotten about, because consoles had a better yield, they make more money. But then again, I have a feeling that will change years down the line, because consoles are becoming more similar to consoles, and I have a feeling a lot of people are going to say, why get a console when a console is merely very similar to a PC when I can just get my own PC? So yeah, that's going to be changing sometime. But considering how much money there is to be making, it's becoming more about the bottom line rather than the quality of the game. The reason why the Master Chief Collection was rushed is because it had to meet the Christmas holiday, because during that time it can make its most money. So yeah, it's no wonder that game was rushed. It's to make more money. And same goes for Battlefront. They want to release this game alongside with Star Wars, because next November everyone's going to be talking about Star Wars. So obviously this game's going to sell well. Also, it's during the Christmas season. So yeah, it's probably going to make millions upon millions of dollars, probably maybe around the same amount Star Wars will make at, like, when it first releases in theaters. But I don't know, maybe this, I'm not entirely sure, but basically they want it to release alongside the film, but who gives a shit? Okay, I'm stoked for the film, but Battlefront has nothing to do with the film. Okay? Sure, it's Star Wars, but does it have to release alongside the film? Are you trying to do what movie license games do? Like, yeah, release a movie license game next to the movie's release date. Yeah, that just shows how fucking dialed in the game is, and I hope to Christ that the game's not going to be dialed in. Okay? But because I'm a fan of Battlefront, and I'm worried that game's going to be broken, and I'm worried more games are going to be broken because we keep incentivizing bad game practices or business practices. Ugh. Yeah. So, to everyone pre-ordering Battlefront, you have to make a decision. Either cancel your pre-order because you're too worried of the fact that maybe EA may or EA will make DICE like fucking just release this buggy and not give a shit, or just get it anyways because you're a fan, and even though you may be incentivizing more bad business practices, and and tell EA that you don't care that they release games at a rough state. Okay? Consumers deserve a better, higher quality, and to tell publishers that we need to vote with our wallets. Okay? My name is Triage, and I will see you in the next video.